will be back in some form.
We have an army of digital soldiers, because this was an insurgency.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
You guys know what this represents?
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist, you're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs, you are.
What's up, Patriots? I hope you are kicking ass and taking names. Welcome to the party. PatriotPartyNews.com. I'm your host, Chaz Carter, better known as Underground Patriot, coming at you guys live. What's up? What's up? What's up? I hope everybody is doing fantastic today. I'm going to do a quick roll call. We're going to get right to it. Get your drink if you got them. I got my sweet tea ready. It's about to be on and popping today. If you've been paying close attention to mainstream media at all, I think it answers a lot of the questions, but we're going to talk about that. So Wilmington, North Carolina representing. What's up, Wilmington? Thanks for checking in. Connecticut in the house. South Carolina in the house. Michigan in the house. Alabama in the house. What's up? From charming New York. Wow, how the hell are you, New York? The end of the movie is near. Yes. Cincinnati representing. Woo woo. Go Dogs. Georgia in the house. What's up, Cali in the house? North Carolina in the house. I'm loving it. Yes, you know what happens when we're late. Going good news. North Carolina. What's up, Florida? Illinois, Tennessee, proud. Yep. I'm going to bring it. Hey, Alberta, Canada. Thanks for checking in, Canada. North Carolina, East Tennessee, Florida. Whoop, whoop. Iowa, Buffalo in the house. Eastern Washington in the house. Missouri, Florida, Indiana, North Carolina, Virginia. Whoop, whoop. Maine in the house. Ohio in the house. Nashville, Tennessee in the house. Yep, that's right. EBS, bring it. I bet some of you got that same test too. We'll talk about there shortly. Long Island representing loud and clear. Oh, there's that wave of people I was waiting on. There you are. It happens every single time. I should be getting used to this. That's awesome. Good stuff. Let me play catch up here. Where are we at? There we go. Florida, North Carolina, Virginia. Loving it. Yep. Iowa, Indiana, Miami, Florida. What's up, Florida? Again, Ohio. Somebody said 80s in the house. Yeah. Yep. I'm a big 80s fan, no doubt. What's up, Texas? Utah in the house. Woo-woo. Go Dogs. Georgia in the house. Loving it. South Dakota in the house, North Dakota in the house. Man, y'all are bringing it today. Loving it. Huge red pill day. Amen on that. Amen. Let's see here. What's up, the Big D in Texas? Whoop, whoop. What's up, Ohio, Oklahoma, Florida. Wyoming's in the house. Massachusetts in the house. Loving it. Portland, Oregon in the house. Oklahoma. North Carolina. Loving it. Arizona's representing. What's up, Arizona? We're going to be talking about you probably a little bit today, too. Long Island. What's up? Jersey. Iowa. Made it. Fantastic. Well, if you're just new to what's going on here, welcome to PatriotPartyNews.com. By the way, guys, if you are watching this on YouTube, do me a big favor, because YouTube likes to censor the shit out of us. That's fine. We just make a ton of YouTube channels. You'll go to our home, wherever you're watching us on your YouTube channel. Just click on channels on our channel page. it will pull up all of our corresponding channels that we have listed below from PPN 1, 2, through whichever is available at that point. Just subscribe to them so you'll always be in contact. And if you don't know without certainty, no problem. We also stream live from our own website and our own servers. So there you go. We'll never be shut down. They just try to hide us, and it's all good. And obviously, guys, you can go and get on our massive all-in-one Patriot platform called patriotshute.com. You can come here, you can hit members, sign up for free. Pretty badassery. Pretty awesome. So, a lot of stuff we can cover here, but someone is at my door. And let's see here. What's up?
What's up, people? How is everybody?
How are you, buddy?
I happened to be at Starbucks using their Wi-Fi because some drunk idiot took out our cable box, so it's going to be a while. So I came down here and I was just watching all the people go through the drive-thru because the drive-thru is right in front of me. Mm-hmm. And interesting, you know, if you like people watching, Starbucks is the place to go. It's the new watering hole. Mm-hmm. So sorry, I was getting text messages. How are you? Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Sorry, we missed each other yesterday. I was doing stuff all day and couldn't be around. That's why I missed last night's show. Caught a little bit of it. You and Toothless had me rolling. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot to talk about. So let me see here. Hello to the chat rooms on Twitch and hello on YouTube as I'm pulling them both up. There we go. But other than that, it was a good weekend. I love your truck, brother. That thing's bitching. Just, you know, the cool thing about this, you get to see some amazing cars. And in being in California, you have to have a car because everything is so far bloody away from each other.
What about masks? Are they wearing a lot of masks out there around you? What do you say?
I walked in here without my mask on, and they didn't say anything to me. So, you know, I've noticed, what was it? The CDC said 2 days ago that you don't have to wear a mask now, and yet Pelosi's saying you have to. And I know that Walmart and one big grocery chain that owns Kroger, Safeway, and Vons have all stated that you can walk in without a mask, but yet the employees still have to wear a mask. You know, so it's really interesting how that narrative is falling apart, and I think it all stems from opening day in Houston. No, not Houston. Where the Rangers play. Where do the Rangers play? Austin, right? I'm not sure where the Texas Rangers play.
I know we got some people on here. I know there's some people on here from Texas. I think you're right about that.
Trader Joe's, that's right. Trader Joe's was the other market, the other supermarket.
What about Target? Now, somebody said something about Target. I went into a Target here probably about 2 weeks ago, and they had a kiosk up front. And I came in there, no mask. Everybody's masked up. I'm like the only one walking in. And they're like, here's a mask. I'm like, no, thanks.
How about all the masks? Like, I walked here. It's only 1.5 miles from my house. I walked down here, and I think I encountered 5 masks just laying on the side of the road or on the sidewalk that somebody had just, you know, one way or another, they just came up lost. And if this is supposed to be such a biological hazard, wouldn't there be receptacles on how? I mean, just like in a hospital, when after they poke you, that becomes hazardous material, goes into a thing with a red bag on it and the whole 9 yards. But we don't have that, and that's why I say this narrative is falling apart. And especially today is a big a day. You know, you and I, we were talking offline, and it's been a couple times we talked about this, is that it's not so much dates, it's about events. And today is a big event day. Last week we had the XRP, which saw Bitcoin just go, just take it. So if you got Bitcoin, I jump out now and get your money out of it, because Bitcoin is going down and Dodge and XRP and XLM are going up. And then this is what we had talked about. So if there's somebody out there that would like an opportunity to be part of the network,
Yep.
And you've got the cojones to get in front of a camera and stout, I know this about crypto, and if you're good about it, you should reach out to us, and we'll bring you online, because I'm still learning about it, and I try to. There's a lot to learn, and I made my mistakes in crypto, and it's cost me some money. And right now, I've got it in Dogecoin, XLM, and Digibyte. Digibyte is kind of like surfing, it dips below the line, it goes up, but it never really takes a big spike like Dogecoin did. Shit, Dogecoin got up to 70 cents, and I bought it when it was at a penny. What was it? 0.010033 is what I bought it at. So I have a lot of it. It's just something that we definitely need somebody on the network. So if you're out there, reach out to Chaz, and let's get you on board, and get you to make a little 10-minute slot. And then any other people that look, the RV is about doing what you want. And luckily for me, I have a vast amount of experience. I went to school, and then I did it professionally. Whereas Chaz, hard to get the camera right there. That guy is doing this with no experience. So having me on board to see what this young man is doing, and I will say, happy belated birthday, young man.
Thank you, sir.
Yesterday was your birthday, and congratulations on getting married. I saw a brief little bit last night with you and your wife, since she was sitting there and she was all glowing. So nice job. And we talked offline, and there's all about that. 2 spoons, AT&T.
So this right here, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And somebody in the chat, Becky, thank you. I got that. This is the Atlas V rocket that's getting ready to launch right now. This is pretty cool. There.
This is NASA, right? Because this isn't SpaceX.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? When you look at this, look how many people are involved in this, and you look at SpaceX, and there's like 12.
Exactly.
And they not only could they send that rocket up, they can take the booster rocket and land that mother. And these guys just like, oh, let it fall in the ocean. So here's the difference between, this is ULA. That's the reason why. Okay, so this is the United Liberty Alliance. So this is a combination of a bunch of European countries.
This is
okay. That explains a lot.
Ooh, this is very interesting. This is live right now, by the way.
But isn't it funny that the Tesla technologies and the technologies that we have, according to what the Navy has released, this is like Model T, compared to what we actually have up there.
Mm-hmm.
They're running on full anti-grav.
Now, they're at Cape Canaveral. They're at the Cape. They're at Cape Canaveral right now. This is where the rocket's at right now. That's interesting.
Soon, all of the NASA will be flipped over to SpaceX. SpaceX will do the private. They're going to be the privatization for the government and us on getting off of the ground to leave this earthly plane.
You know how ironic. That's the same launch pad, I believe, as Challenger. That's interesting. That's a little tidbit for people.
Now, where is this payload going, and what is it doing? Do you know?
Well, I don't have a clue about this. I've been trying to keep up with what we were talking about with the potential event that's unconfirmed at this point, but where everybody is.
And could this be part of the events that we're looking for? We do know that the government stated, what was a couple of days ago, the government stated, we didn't have we have the technology to do that, but we didn't do it. Yeah. So what were they doing? Were they pre-programming everybody for this? I think this is a good thing, but I don't know what the payload is. Does anybody in the chat know what the payload is?
Let me guess, satellites.
No, that lifts off tomorrow in the early morning hours.
Non-stop lifting off of satellites, though. There's thousands upon thousands of satellites, above us.
Well, they're working. Oh my God! All you got to do is watch Monkey Works before he turns the filter, or you when you put that thing on and before
Yeah.
you turn the filter off of commercial, it's like it's crowded up there. I
So
didn't
this
realize.
thing's going to launch in T-minus 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The countdown is up there. If you look to the top left-hand side, it's 3 minutes, 20 seconds, 19, 18. So it's coming down. So in 3 minutes, this might be interesting. I don't even know about this.
There it is. It's carrying the 5th space-based infrared system satellite scheduled to lift off at 1:37 at Cape Canaveral. Okay, that's what the payload is. It's a infrared.
Hey, this just in from Michelle. Thanks, Michelle. Military says they're gearing up for an intense night of airstrikes. Palestinian Islamic Jihad just proclaimed Israel should prepare for time of terror at 9 p.m. per at disclosed TV. Interesting. That's huge.
Well, that's all
Part of the movie.
That scare event to
Yeah.
raise everybody's blood pressure to go, oh my God, we're going to go into a nuclear war. Well, that'll never happen because this is all a play. I mean, if you know and you understand that the trials are going on in Gitmo, you can sit back like I am right now and just go, this is a cool movie. I'm stoked to be here and watch it actually happen instead of having to go, be like, when I was born, it wasn't months later that JFK was killed. So I never knew JFK.
Right.
But I was there and lived through that history, even though I was too young and too, not aware enough to understand what was truly going down.
So what's your thoughts on the potential Hillary show today of some sort? What's your thoughts?
I was thinking about that. It could be a combination of things. I mean, you have the Arizona audit, which is those guys, the supervisors, have to stand before the Senate today. And they had an emergency meeting last night to, hey, let's get our story straight. And then you saw the breakout of Rubneck and how they've been supplying different states with ballots. And then you come to find out, I think the coolest thing to find out was they used bamboo paper.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, Javon knows all about that stuff. Javon Pulitzer, man, that dude, I was watching some of his stuff, even in the Georgia stuff. I mean, he was taking to if someone handled it, if they smoked, if they, just by touching it. And it was just absolutely amazing. The fabric, the fibers. I mean, he just
that's the thing. They didn't just find it in Arizona. They found it in Michigan. They found it in Georgia because that paper is the normal paper for China is bamboo because it's so it grows efficiently and they make paper out of it. So, and not only that, it was missing the the watermarks.
By the way,
there's a lot.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish.
I was going to say, by the way, we were wanting to know what was the payload on here. Nugget Lee just sent me a text, and it's saying that military officials have said that the satellite built by Lockheed Martin for $1 billion can detect and track from missile launches around the world. Yeah, look at this. Holy smokes, guys! This is a big daddy. That's a big daddy right there. That's not. That's serious. They're saying Allied forces to prepare for impending attacks. Officials said. Very interesting.
If this thing explodes, then
Oh, this is interesting. Check out. I didn't know ULA existed, to be brutally honest with you, till just now.
There's a lot of private. You got Bezos. He's got his own space agency. You have the Chinese have their space agency. The Turkish actually are. They're planning to put something on the moon, and the Indians. They've actually put what was it? They put a satellite around Mars. The last I read, they haven't landed on Mars yet. But there's numerous countries that are, constantly going up there. But if you don't pay attention, you just watch the news. You watch the news, your mind is caged. That's the way I look at it.
Look at this thing. It's at Mach 1 right now. That's a little setting to the left there. And I guess jettisons the different fuel tanks or whatever, that little red dot will go down to that next. Then it'll go down to booster engine cutoff and etc. Kind of go down the list there. I think that's kind of neat. Now let's just try to do a calendar right there.
This goes back to that flat Earth theory. Is that why isn't that thing going straight up? I mean, even look at it right now. It is on a curvature.
Yeah.
And that whole, I mean, to me, I'm still on the fence on it. I mean, I could see both sides of the fence, and I could go, yeah, that could actually happen, especially when you talk about the caves in Kentucky that lead you down to Middle Earth, where Shambhala is, and Shangri-La, and and you have the entrance to the in the Antarctic, which has been signed by 197 countries. That if you and I just happen to crash land on the Arctic, we're arrested. Why is that? What's there that all of these countries are hiding on that landmass? You know,
it's all going to come out, all of it. It's going to have to, and we're not going to be the same. Everybody is going to have to change their perspective, their mindset, and again, go do your due research and your own due diligence. The guys we have been lied to our whole entire lives.
Oh my God, that is so true. Just to know that you've been lied to. I mean, after being in the school system as a coach and watching it, and then watching it on such a greater scale with Google and Facebook and that, you know, the censorship of truth, it makes you realize that there's so, like, yesterday I was reading about giants. There was a Mystery History 2, the channel Mystery History 2. I don't know if you've watched it, but and currently in Switzerland, there is a replica of a 7-meter tall giant in the center of the museum. And then they went from there and they go, why did the Smithsonian in the 1900s destroy all of the giant skeletons that they once had on show? And then they discussed that for a little bit. And then they talked about the various countries, like in Venezuela, they just unearthed like 5-7-meter skeletal forms with full on warrior dress. And then they showed these axes and these giant books. I mean, I'm 6'4", and these books were like twice the size of me. So, you know, there's so much hidden knowledge that's out there, and they like to deem it a cult when the truth is, right? Yeah. And it's like I don't know if you've felt this, but I feel that we just keep repeating the same timeline. It's like everything that the Nazis did, because number one, the bankers, they didn't want to play the bankers game. So the bankers go, okay, well then screw you. We're just going to cut off everything to your country. And that's when he had to go militaristic. And it didn't help that he was bipolar to begin with.
Right.
You know, and the resources of Poland, Germany needed those resources. But at the same time, they were also being introduced to technology that today we're just finding out, you know, in the last couple of years, we're finding out that our World War II Mustang pilots were actually having to fight Haibasha German UFOs. I mean, you go back to the photograph in 1954 of 22 UFOs over the nation's capital. And I can't even, it's so weird. Now what I know about DC, I can't even say that's the nation's capital, because that's the country that captured our country, you know? But that when you see those UFOs, and you know the true story of it, that was the Germans going, back the fuck off. You know, don't come to the Antarctic. This is our land, and you do your thing, and we're going to do our thing. And
Right.
And when you look at the cleansing of the Jews, it was really the cleansing of the Khazarian Jews. Just like, I mean, you got Netanyahu launching missiles on his own people. And he's got a lot of issues in there. And like I read this morning, there was a big sacrifice. I mean, like a brutal, brutal sacrifice on human beings by Netanyahu and his little cabal friends so that they could keep their power. But the power of God is just beating Satan and his followers. I mean, to the point where Hamas, Hamas is just like, what is it? What is the ones down there? It's Hamas and what's the other terrorist organization that's down there?
I couldn't even
I
tell
can't
you.
think of it. But those are your brown shirts. Those are your Antifa and BLM of that region. Just like, you know,
Are you talking
when you
about
look at,
Palestinians or Palestinians?
no, the Palestinians are a good people that just got beaten way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like back in the biblical times, and they've been beaten back pretty hard. And I mean, if you go back and you look in world almanacs of the early 1930s, and I didn't realize this till somebody pointed it out to me, but if you go back and you look at the almanacs, there was a Palestinian flag from 1930 to 1933. They had their own land recognized, and the Khazarians, they just came in there and they strong-armed everybody to take over that land for Israel instead of doing it the way God had prophesied. Because remember, everything that we do is according to the positive side of light, right? And
Right.
Satan and his followers, they do everything that is a mirror, but they have to project what they're going to do so that good men will go, no, 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 no. But see, for so long, because of television and radio, and having just the four networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS, and supposedly PBS was a government, and I'll tell you, friends of mine that worked there, that was not a government station. That was all about how much money we can beg from the American public to distribute it elsewhere. So when you look at those four platforms and how, you know, I grew up, or I was the remote control for the old man, you know, put it on channel 10, put it on channel 8, put it on channel 39, you know, and then when I started getting into it at the Explorer Scout level, and I started seeing, you know, somebody went, here's the veil, let's pull it back and really show you all the mechanisms that go on here and how it's used to manipulate.
Right.
It manipulates your mind to the point where if somebody tells you a lie and they state it 1,000 times, somebody's going to believe that lie because all what they do, it's like this. Pentagon reportedly running secret army of 60,000 running around the world. That's that's a gotcha headline. Okay, so now when you scroll down into the story, where do they talk about that 60,000? Is it in the first two paragraphs? More than likely not. That's just the way journalism, right off the bat, you prove me wrong. But like you see a lot of gotcha journalism is about the headline, you know, and people, because they don't have the time because they're on that hamster wheel and they're chasing that carrot, you know, and the carrot keeps getting further and further and further. And to the point where you get what I experienced yesterday was a total breakdown of fear because you owe money. And you owe money to the bank over a mortgage, or you owe money to the IRS and they're going to put you in jail. Okay, number one, a lot of people were late with their taxes last year. And I didn't hear many people going to court to go to nice. One of Hillary's girl toys.
She fell to her death. This is reported 49 minutes ago, folks.
Here's something interesting in there. So if you read that, is there any mention of a red scarf? Because they like to mention the red scarf because that is their calling card. You know, like you had Anthony Bourdain was killed and he was hung by his neck with a red scarf, or David Carradine was hung by his neck by a red scarf, or the maid there was a maid here in San Diego about 5 years ago. She was gorgeous little Asian maid, and they brutally sacrificed her and hung her from her neck from the third story balcony in this plush home in La Jolla. And they never found the couple that supposedly she was the maid for. I mean, it's like they evaporated off the face of the earth.
Well, listen what they say. Listen to this. Listen to what they say. They say, it's not healthy to be a billionaire who knows Hillary and lives in a high-rise apartment right now for some strange reason. because this woman went flying. Somebody ejected her from her high rise. Realize this. She's a flipping billionaire. She probably has security. Okay?
Well, isn't that the second one that's taken a dive out of a building? Didn't we have one like a week or 2 weeks ago where one?
Didn't we say a Hillary story was coming out potentially today? This is
it. They said that this was the day they were planning to arrest her to be that shot heard around the world.
Maybe,
but like I said, it could be Hillary.
Hint, wink, wink.
Right. Well, it's like the whole narrative of Arizona. Oh, you can't have the routers because they have sensitive information. Well, know what it does.
You still there?
Oh, there's a big No, I just got something that from one of my friends about Texas. The food bill that they're cutting off the COVID relief in Texas. Just done. So that's actually it's unfortunate. There's a bunch of people that are going to get hurt because they are. I hate saying this about Americans, but they are sycophants on the system. You know, they're basically not working. And I'm all for work, but look, at the same time, if I have to get a jab, no, I'm sorry, I'm not getting that. That means I'm not working. You got New York State that goes, oh, if you want to go to a sport, vaccinated over here, non-vaccinated over here, and that is the 1950s of coloreds and whites. I hate saying that, just segregating it, and that. New Yorkers, of all people in our country, that New Yorkers are allowing this piece of shit to do what he's doing.
I know. It's crazy. There's all kinds of intel that's coming in right now, actually, as we speak.
So what floor did she fall from? Does it say in the story?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say at all. It says, Lou Lily, a female tycoon, died after falling from her penthouse with her 5-month-old baby daughter in her arms. Wow.
So she died with her and her daughter.
Yes,
oh, that's some
in her arms.
That's some serious hatred. That's some serious hatred they had for her because she probably knew something that it's like 3 Days of the Condor. The movie with Redford. It's like you have so much knowledge that we can allow you to live. Because think of what harm you could do to us. Kind of like the situation I had on Telegram that you and I had talked about. They just don't trust you, and because they don't trust you, they have to kill you. So how is that being a good person? Well, number one, you should never have those secrets. Number two, our government shouldn't have to work in those secrets, but because money can be printed out of thin air and it doesn't have anything backing it. Those that have, they have. I mean, you think evaluation. You think about all the criminals that have pallets and pallets of money, just $100 bills stacked up, on a pallet, and just sitting there. And it's because they have so much money that their job is now to protect that money instead of making that money. And when you protect it, you're going to protect it at all means possible. And then you think about, okay, let's take that and put steroids to it, and let's not look at the common, Italian mafia family. Let's look at the guy who's doing with Soros and Hillary, all those people that is so bloody rich that we have no idea who this person is. Whereas a Richardson, he's super wealthy, but there are still people above him that are pulling his strings. And like, we know that the Pesurs have been dealt with, and the 13 Venetian families have been dealt with. Did that back in 2016 and 2017. And unfortunately, Cappy died. And I know for a fact that Cappy didn't die, is that they stopped all that because you have no pictures of his body laying on a pavement. You have no autopsy whatsoever on his body. There's just, he died and there was a funeral. Right. It's like Tupac. It's like Tupac. Tupac was so brazen. He went like this to the cabal paid two guys to $1 million each to help him fake his death, and then they got a cadaver body that was 35 pounds heavier and 2 inches taller than the real Tupac. And he pieced out to Cuba for 10 years and lived in Cuba and just did his thing. And, you know, numerous musicians that I knew would come back and go, dude, I just saw Tupac. And it's like, what are you talking about? And about 2 years ago, he came back to New York, and he's just chilling in New York, just walking around, and people are, oh, you're Tupac. He's like, no, it's not me. But the reality is he's still there. It's like Michael Jackson. Okay, who was that guy? Who's that guy who performed the Super Bowl show? The Weeknd, was that his name?
I believe so. Yeah.
I dare you to go listen to. I dare you to go listen to his new music. Number one, the guy does not look like he looked at the Super Bowl show. Number two, his voice is not the same. And you and I, both being tech guys, we know about modulation on the human voice.
Yep.
And you listen to that, you listen to his two new songs, I swear to God, that's Michael Jackson's theme. And we both know, and this is going to go into some really wild shit that I was reading this weekend, because in that, the whole Michael Jackson is that he's taken over for the Weeknd, and he's using prosthetics to, because like you look at the Weeknd's face, his face is pudgier now.
I mean, there's. I'll have to go look this up. You got me already intrigued. I might have to pull this up.
I'll send you I'll send you the link where I started reading this. So then it went into Princess Diana. Okay, so a lot of us that know that she had a daughter, but she didn't have a daughter, but she had a daughter. So how is that possible? How did she have a daughter when we never saw her with a daughter? And I've always wondered this. So how did they do that? Do you know? Does anybody in the channel? It is the wildest story. It's like a good movie when I heard about this. Oh yeah, right. Identical voice.
Yeah.
So when Charles was looking, found her, and they made her do a test. They pulled the egg, they fertilized it to prove that she could have babies, right? Just the doctor's egg, because he was barren, and his wife wanted to have a child. Took Diana's egg and impregnated his wife with Diana's egg, and they had a girl named Sarah. Okay, she's 38 years old. Didn't know that she was who she was until Harry and Meghan came to the U.S. and they were traveling all around the U.S. They were looking for her, and when they found her, they told her who she was. She and since then, remember a couple of weeks ago there was that said Diane Baxton.
Yes, I do. Actually.
And Trump and Melania did their thing, right? He went back to England. She went and grabbed Sarah, and they went through all the royal protocols so that Sarah can become the next Queen of England, even though they don't want to royalty. Do royal a different way, because you have that guy John, what is his name? John Tate, I think his name is, and he has a right to claim of. If you realize that fact, not Windsors when they came onto the throne, they were actually from Austria, and they basically captured the throne. And so by using what John Taylor was doing and now what Diana's doing, Diana and Sarah have been to England twice now. And now Diana is back here. Melania is just chilling in her home country, just relaxing because she played her part. I mean, when you look at who Melania was and the Melania that you see now, they're not the same woman. I mean, they are, but they aren't, because we know that Diana has been masquerading as Melania because she actually married Donald 20 years ago. Remember when the whole Dottie Fayed thing happened and that got exposed? And she had a secret meeting with Trump and they just hit it off. And that's when Trump divorced Ivanka. It's really weird, but it's kind of like the Game of Thrones. Being able to just
keep on getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Holy smokes. Is that right? Well, I'm reading the chat here too, by the way, and they're sitting there like, I heard that too, and I'm like, where the hell have I been?
Well, it's about
this except me. I'm trying to figure this out.
It's about what rabbit hole you go down that day, and how far do you go down, and then you go, okay. Like it took me 3 months to vet that information about Diana, and once I vetted it, I'm like, okay, I know she's alive now, so let's see her movements and what she's doing. And then you see this whole thing, and then you look at the Royals and what they were doing, and like, seriously, where are they? Where are all these people? I mean, you got Ellen after 19 years.
Now, is that right? She moved in, she canceled her show, and then she moves in with Courtney Cox from Friends. Is that correct? And that's what I heard.
Yeah, but they're both in Gitmo though.
Right. But that's the storyline they're projecting to the public from mainstream media.
But that's the truth. She did move in with Courtney Cox in Gitmo. You know that whole cast of Friends. All of them
are there.
They're all down there. You know, and it's funny that how you to get, and I learned this a long time ago. If you really wanted to get ahead in the game, there were things that you would have to do to compromise yourself. And as somebody that believes in God and the crap that I've gone through, you've seen my scar.
Sure.
It's like, why would I do that? I mean, I don't want to taint my soul. It's bad enough that I have the sins of my father being a legendary Marine and all the things that he did, and then come to find out that Vietnam was just a way for us to get to the Silk Road to get into Afghanistan, because that's true, Chrissy. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to drug America so much so that they could be easy pickings. They could take this government over. They could go, look here, but don't look here. And meanwhile, this hand is in your pocket, pilfering your money. And this hand is telling you, oh, everybody needs to, spread the wealth. No, fuck that. I got to say, that's all I got to say. I'm an American, and the Starbucks girl, so cute. I'm an American, and I make what I make, and you don't get to tell me how much I get to make. That's the beauty of this country. But when they started putting, oh, well, you're a millionaire, so we're going to tax you. And then you go, nope, taxes are an illegal function according to the original Constitution. But if you're going to tax me under the Organic Act of 1871, let's go there, because I'm pretty knowledgeable on that subject. I can bet you that I will beat you in a debate, especially in a court of law. That's the thing on being a communicator. Like I am, I realized what my gift is, and a long time ago, I learned that I could be very successful in debate. And you
got to right now. You have to. You have to right now. I mean, I was last night. Listen to this. So a lot of our audience knows who Warren is. You haven't met Warren yet. You will. I was with Warren last night. Yeah, absolutely. And me and Warren. He mentored me before coming into this, and he more or less woke me, but it was an event that happened close to my house that really unhinged me to where I'm at now. But he was saying, things are going to get crazy. You need to prepare everyone. And Warren said that the whole alien thing, and I think Tucker was covering something, I think last night. I saw
Hannity
posted
both of them.
Mm-hmm. He said,
the question is why?
Well, I think it's just conditioning. I think it's conditioning leading up to my final check on my board over here, which is First Contact, massive scare event. And once that check is done, we should be going right into the RV. We should be, and everything should start taking exactly into the darkness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the RV has taken a lot out of me of late. But at the same time, I see what I see, and I'm just kicking back because I'm in a good place where I know that this is going to happen. There's too many mechanisms
on NDAs right now. Yeah, there's people getting on NDAs. I mean, that's when does that happen? Educate me.
Well, I know 3 tier 4As that are on NDAs that told me I'll talk to you after you go.
Right.
You know, and that's been a week and a half now. Wow. And now like Mark was saying this morning, the CMKX packages, was that done to test it? You know, did they just go here, 5,000 people or so? I have no idea what the number is. Let's test this and see if this works, because we know there's a lot of CMKX, man. I was talking to Mark offline, and he was explaining to me that whole thing. It was about how the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, the law enforcement of hedge funds and the stock market, and hedge fund managers and a couple big banks conspired together to bilk out the regular investor, and they just destroyed that stock. And I mean, it was a penny stock, and Mark kind of gave me a roundabout of what he had, and I went, really? I go, wow. And so what they're talking about now is, we have heard that the rate is anywhere from $6 to $8. That's what the rate is going to be. That's what we've heard. Now, we don't know, because somebody signs that NDA. We're never going to know unless somebody goes, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna tell you anyways, and I got so much to put aside, blah blah blah, whatever.
Right.
I hope I never know what the true number is, but if it is $6 to $8, and let's say you had it as a penny stock and you spent $5,000 on that is, as Mark said, when the compounded daily interest, because it was in a court case, it compounded daily.
Wow.
So you're looking at, let's say you spent $5,000, right, in 1989, 1990. That $5,000 is going to probably net you, after everything is said and done, about $60 to $80 million.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I was like, holy crap. And
testing the system though through this. This is, I mean, it's logical. And how you're explaining this, and are they trying to test the system to make sure everything goes out properly? It sounds like it's a test run. That's what it sounds like from outside.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, there was information that they were going to do a slow rollout. Okay. They were going to do it slowly, piece by piece, and then other gurus came in and said, "Oh, this isn't going to happen." And it's so funny. You got 107 saying there'll be no dinar, no Zim, no nothing. But yet, if you go back 2 years ago and you watch his conversations with Field, they talked about the RV all the time. So
right,
and then you got Fleming's intel where they're out accusing Juan of not needing it. And look, I understand compartmentalization, because that's what that's what the military does. It doesn't allow everybody to know. It's like, for instance, let me ask, what's the difference between a Soviet tank and an American tank after the tank commander is killed? What happens? Do you know the difference?
You were cutting in and
Sorry
out.
about that. This is free Wi-Fi from Starbucks.
Sorry about that.
So you take 2 tanks. You take an American tank and you take a Soviet tank, and you kill the tank commander in both tanks. What happens to the tank? Do you know?
Someone take command? I mean, whoever's in.
Okay. So what happens? So let's take the Soviet tank.
Okay.
So when the tank commander dies, the tank stops. Okay. If the gunner is killed, the tank still goes, but it doesn't fire. If the driver is killed, the tank stops. If the loader is killed, the tank still can't fire. In an American tank, if the tank commander is killed, the driver steps in. If the driver is killed, the loader steps in. If the loader is killed, the gunner does both. You see, everybody knows everybody's job inside the American tank to keep it going forward. But in a Russian tank, they don't know everybody's job. They're compartmentalized to only know theirs. So once a key person, say the tank commander, dies, that thing stops. And that stops on the battlefield. Whereas this tank still works on the battlefield, and that's just common business where you see a lot of businesses, they compartmentalize stuff so where the right hand, that old saying, the right hand doesn't know what the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. Sorry, the things got me all twisted as I'm watching myself. But the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And we hear that a lot about corporations because corporations do that because they're afraid of employees coming in and taking big chunks of money from them because they know everything in the business is going on. And that's the same thing with this operation. I mean, you have guys like Juan and Robert David Steele and Nino Rodriguez, and they're talking about the war itself. Then you got Mark, and you got Frank 26, and you got Rod Steele, and all of those guys talking about the financial aspect. Because look, when you come into a country as warriors and you defeat them, you have all these giant chests of gold and silver that you get to take back home with you. And see, that's the thing, is that the warriors are doing the warrior part while the accountants are waiting like this going, how much booty did we get and how much can we distribute it? And that's what we're waiting for, is that the war that we're currently watching has been won. It's just that you cannot tell, like this young couple that's sitting here next to me, I can't tell them that Hillary is a eater of small children. She drinks the blood of small children. She sacrifices them. She has sex with them. People are not ready for that because the mainstream media, which has still not been dealt with yet, will just go, oh, that's all malarkey. And, this Hillary is the best person on the planet Earth. And if you believe that, I got swampland in Thailand to sell you.
Right. Yeah, let me ask you this.
But
there's a lot, and this is something you brought up, and I'm going to address this because you got a valid point here. Here lately, and you touched on this off the live here, there's so much misinformation coming from a lot of folks that it's starting to come out that what they were saying, and we haven't been perfect by no stretch. I'll be the first one to tell you. Okay, this has all been a learning process, vetting information, putting the pieces together, and then having a logical, what the end result would be. And that's been more or less our recipe in doing all this. And we've learned as we've gone. However, all this stuff, the concernment with people saying this and saying that, including all these fake accounts that are popping up all over the place, masquerading around as if they're that individual, but it turns out it's the AI smear campaign, more or less. What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, it's just like, okay, so let's take you. YouTube likes to shut you down because you say things in your show that causes the AI to go, oh, delete that channel, delete that channel, delete that channel. But yet you keep making more, right? Now, I think AI can do that too. And so when you look at your news sources like Epic Times and the Gateway Pundit, these have proven to be distributors of truth. And you've got, say, the Huffington Post. And I know that I just made everybody just collectively roll their eyes up, but we know that the Huffington Post is an entertainment trash mag. And all it does is it's a propaganda arm of the Democratic Party under the guise of news. So when you look at news, you have to consider the source. Right. And when you see all of these new sources popping up, and they're all about right? And when you see somebody come out, that's the AI protecting itself. That's the AI doing its Agent Smith. I mean, I watched my partner yesterday become Agent Smith. Almost got punched in the face because I laughed because I said, "Oh, how you doing, Agent Smith?" I go, "About time you showed up," and I laughed at her.
Oh no,
not the thing to do. I should know better at 58 years old not to laugh at a woman when she's stressing out. But I saw Agent Smith pop into her body to protect itself and the system, because my days of being Agent Smith, your days of Agent Smith there's no way they can invade our body. We're over that. And I would say the people in the chat are the same way.
Yeah.
But when you run into Agent Smith, you notice it and you're like, wow, it's really, really working hard to keep its grasp on the person's soul, because that's what it is.
Yep.
It's not the body so much, it's the grasp on the soul. And the soul being good people, they don't, how do I put it? There are people that are born warriors and there are people that are not.
Right.
And good people are not born warriors. They have an aversion to violence. And there are guys like you and me, and probably I would say 50% of the chat who are wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, I can't tell you the number of rapes I've stopped in my lifetime, the number of people I've just been in places where, oh, this is on fire and there are people in there. I'm going to run in there and help them out, because that's the mindset that I was taught, is that I was taught to run to danger and help people. You know, that's what the Marines do. If you're in a foreign land and you hear the Marines are landed and you're on the opposite end of them, I feel for you.
Right.
Those guys, they were practicing till 11 o'clock last night. They were booming the crap out of the valley, but that's what they do. And to me, that's the sound of freedom, because I would rather have a militia, and that's what I'll call the Marines, because that's what they are. I would rather have a militia that is there to protect me, being able to train. And if you don't have a militia that's not able to train, then you get what we got in Portland with the National Guard. And then you find out that the National Guard was ordered by this general who believed that Biden is the president. And so his orders were contrary to what the reality should have been. And since he's been dealt with. So when you look at all of these things and you look at the dominoes that are out there, everything says that we're close to the RV. So it was something that you and I were talking about, and some people in this channel, about the education.
Yes.
And you asked me a question yesterday in a text, and it made me laugh because you and I had talked about it. You're like, when do we get the NDAs?
Right.
So let's go over that really quick. So what happens is I know that I'm going to get it from Mark, because Mark is one of the mouthpieces that'll give out the secure link website.
Right.
So once I get the website, I'm going to text it to you so everybody here can have it. I mean, in my group on Telegram, they know that if I spam Ted Nugent's kind of funny, we bring up the Uncle Ted, right?
Oh,
so
good here.
So I told my group on Telegram that when I spam Stranglehold by Ted Nugent, and I mean spam it, I'm going to put it at least 10 times, and then I'm going to lock it as a pin and put the website underneath. But that they know that that's the piece of music. That means that, okay, once this goes down, I'm going to leave my room open for 24 hours. And then after 24 hours, I'm going to lock it to read only. And that way it doesn't allow me to mess up and say something that I shouldn't say. Mm-hmm. Or more importantly, screw it over for somebody else, because having that, they may inadvertently slip. But it's just a way to acknowledge. And you're going to, with Mark and Seeds of Wisdom, I know that they're doing that same thing. I know that Fleming is going to shut down his room to a read-only, numerous rooms in the Telegram. And it's like I mentioned to you the other day, and I was really grateful that you had Signal, because I got a thing yesterday saying that the Apple Store, and I think I sent that to you. Did I? I don't know if I did or not. But Apple is going to be taking Telegram out of their store here at the end of this week.
And that's what I was telling everybody about. I told everybody they're going to do the same thing they did to Parler. And that's what I've been telling everybody, because it's add up. You're right. You're 100% right.
And that's why I've already started to get my group to migrate over to Signal, because there's no way that they can touch the Signal servers because they're in Russia.
Well, not just that, but we have our own servers on our platform to where it's an app. And it's beautiful. It's going to work.
That's the thing. You and I need to talk about that, because I'm such a neophyte compared to your platform, and I want to learn it. And especially with all, let's see.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to take care of Telegram by disabling the apps, and everyone's going to have to resort to going to their desktop. Let's be real, okay? 90% of Americans use this bad boy right here. Okay. And if it's not easy to use, people are not going to be on it. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to leave. We already knew this was going to happen. Right. And so we have planned for this, for everyone to be able to sign up on our platform. You heard it. We've been telling everybody, and that's what's going to happen. As this starts leading up to the scare event, you're going to start to see even massive movement with the canceling of apps from Amazon or Google Play, and also, of course,
yeah, I got to call Amazon today because I got an email stating that I spent $583 on something. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like, and number one, I know the account they used, and there's no money in that because that used to be my old pod account.
Yeah, Top Cop made a good comment. He's talking about the military action. Yeah, it's already happening, boss. It's happening now. It's happening. Yes, and also, guys, just to let you know, don't forget when the bombs start falling and you can't, and you're trying to scout it around to figure out where you're going to go. You need to get your Patriot card through us, folks. It's encrypted, just like it has the same signal technology, believe it or not, built into the backside of this to where we have our own.
I'll tell you what, back in the day when marijuana was illegal here in California, that's how I communicated, was through everybody that was in the business had two phones. You had one phone that just had your signal on it, and after 30 days, you just get rid of it because, I mean, I was in that business illegally for 18 years. I never got busted. I always made sure, and I moved a lot of weight, and I always made sure that I covered my ass. Because number one, the old man being a prison warden and having spent some time when Scared Straight came out in the 70s, the old man saw that and went, "Oh, you just destroyed your car that you've had for what, 3 weeks? You just destroyed it? You put the engine in the passenger seat? Yeah, I think you're going to go to my prison." And yeah, that's when I learned that I never want my freedom taken away.
Right. So what about the martial law thing? What about martial law happening with everything?
Well,
I mean, aren't we technically in some?
I think that's going to come down to, because I keep hearing things like the internet is going to be on a rolling blackout. Like the internet's not going to go out, and if we RV during this time of martial law, because look what Arizona, and I go back to events. Look at Arizona; those guys have to come clean today. The sheriff has to come clean today. He's got to say, and then you've got the other side that's going to bring out all of their professionals. Go, this is what a router does, and this is how much information that can be stored on it. And then why would the sheriffs store pertinent information on a router when it only can hold so much information?
Well, I'm here to tell you they have a lawsuit already, even regardless of the election, if that's the case, because that's how they protect confidential information, folks. I'm here to tell you they've already violated the law even before we even got to this point. So
that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of this, is that the Senate, and they know they're scared. I mean, look, they had a meeting yesterday. All the supervisors, they're trying to get their story straight because they know that they're foobarred. Yeah, I mean, they have everything. Like when the ballot showed up and the truck's seal was broken, and you're a trucker, you break that seal, you call the Department of Transportation, going, "Hey, somebody broke into my truck that was sealed."
You're not held liable because you're liable for it if that seal is broken. And yeah, absolutely, and that's just it.
I'll give you
broken. I mean, come on, we're not.
I'll give you a for instance. In '89, I was the dock supervisor for Conway Western Express on a 130-door terminal in San Diego.
Okay.
We had freight incoming from Arizona, and we knew what was on that trailer. We knew that before it got there, that there was a pallet full of Remington handguns. And whenever you have firearms in the shipping industry, you've got to unpalletize that and count every single gun, right? When that trailer came up to the dock, and my guy goes, "Hey, take a look at this," and I go, "Oh shit, the seal's broken."
Right.
First thing you do is call I shut the dock down, called the FBI. My bosses, the bosses in LA are screaming at us, going, "Why is your dock shut down? Why can't you accept anything?" And I go, "Well, we just had Remingtons come in and the seal was broken." We did the count. We waited till the FBI got there. We didn't touch the trailer. We called the FBI. My bosses, the bosses in LA are screaming at us, going, "Why is your dock shut down? Why can't you accept anything?" And I go, "Well, we just had Remingtons come in and the seal was broken." We did the count. We waited till the FBI got there. We didn't touch the trailer. When the FBI got there, we opened it up, we pulled the pallet out, and it was weird because it was right on the end. But when you look in the bill of lading on how they loaded it, it was supposed to be in the middle. So apparently the driver stopped somewhere between Phoenix and San Diego, somewhere on that road, broke the seal, and stole 30 handguns out of the trailer and repositioned it back and re-shrink wrapped it and made it look like, nothing. But he didn't know our procedures. So once we realized that the driver, and I had kept the driver in the driver's room, didn't let him go to the hotel. Once we realized it was the driver, FBI went in, arrested the driver, but that being down for 2 hours and you got inbound freight coming in. That really messed it up. And that's when I realized how big it is that those seals that are on those trucks, that you can't touch those. The military's already been doing. The military already did that. They here's a military rumor that I had heard from 2 different sources. So right after the election, the military came in and they went to various high-level supervisors that were perpetuating this fraud, and they took them and they hung them out by their feet out of a CH-60 at 10,000 feet. Hung them by them feet, going, they were like upside down, going, "Oh, don't drop me!" And they were like, "You tell us what we want to know, or we're just going to drop you." Who did this? And that's how they got a lot of information about Arizona. That's why Arizona is in the forefront. And then I don't know, did you see today's story about the governor of Michigan? The House of Representatives of the House of Republican have demanded 55,000 pieces of email devoted to the nursing home incident 2 months after she warned not to put those people in the nursing home. So there's all these back and forth emails on why she did what she did. I mean, she stone cold did it. Another rumor that I had heard and it got verified is Nancy Pelosi. So when January 6th, the good guys stole a bunch of laptops from these politicians. And in the emails, in the emails between Pelosi and her husband, they've got all the emails, and it shows all of the schemes that they were doing and all the money that they ripped off from the California people. Man, I'm telling you, when Californians find out how much money her husband has built just off the bullet train, I mean, it'll make your jaw drop. I mean, how can you come into Congress and you got $178,000 in your bank account, and 12 years later, you're worth $59 million? A lot of insider trading knowledge, knowing that the train is going to come through and the state is going to have to buy the land for eminent domain. So let's gobble up all the land in front of the tracks. And as the state comes in, they just keep dealing with Pelosi. Yeah, this is the one right here. I read that article. That's
one of our members sent this on the platform. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, that's it.
So that's not, when you look at her and you look at her before COVID, that's not the same woman. She's already been dealt with.
Yeah, she has. Absolutely.
And I'm like, every good movie, you have to have great actors. And there's been some really good actors that are, number one, saving their ass, or number two, they're patriots that are willing to do this. Like I said, I'm waiting for that Scooby-Doo moment on Biden where they pull his mask off and it's James Woods and he goes, yeah, hell of a joke, because James Woods. I mean, that man is, right. I mean, the guy was a valedictorian at MIT, and he should have gone into, the stuff that MIT teaches you, but because he got drunk with a bunch of friends and they said, "Oh, we're doing this movie, you want to be in it?" And that's how he became an actor. How, isn't it funny how sometimes there's that Y in your road of life, and how you're destined to go down one thing and then something happens and now you're down this other road. It's like John Voight. John Voight is a great patient who happens to be an actor, who happens to have a dog that is a piece of crap, but that's because when you're in that game, you want to get to that level where you're making $15-30 million per movie, you've got to compromise yourself.
Right, no doubt, absolutely. So now there's a.
I did want to. You and I talked earlier today about some things. So everything that we talk about, it just seems like it's negative, 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 right?
Right.
And I wanted to bring some stuff in while you're doing this, to put smiles on people's faces, because I read some of them to you today. So we've got some good stories. I'm gonna drop like 5 of them that I think are really important.
I'll get back
Disney's
to that.
revenues decreased. Yeah, Disney's revenues decreased $636 million in the second quarter, and their stock price fell by 4%. Now that's the second quarter in a row they've lost over half a billion dollars.
Wow,
that is huge.
That's serious.
So Israel continued to bomb Gaza, destroying the office tower that housed several propaganda media outlets, including Al Jazeera and AP. Let's see here. Okay, so this is something else. Kevin McCartney, where do you stand with him? Because I'm going to read this next story. Right?
I don't trust him. I'm not.
I don't trust him either.
Something about. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was about 75%. Man, I'm here to tell you, you don't know really who you can trust, and that dude right there, I don't feel like we can trust him. That's just my.
I think he's the next guy on the way out, because Swamp Rat and Deep State agent Liz Cheney was fired yesterday, and Kevin McCartney is now feeling the heat. I think he's the next one to go.
They're saying he's dead. Was that a clone, perhaps?
Possibly. You know that old saying, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
McCartney and what's his name from Kentucky?
You're talking about McConnell.
Yeah, McConnell's super compromised.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Trump called him out with the CCP, and he's bald. I mean,
so did you notice that they're rebuilding? Biden is resuming the building of the wall.
I'd heard that. It's weird.
Do you know where they're starting it? Do you think? Okay, so let me ask you. I'm in San Diego, so everything is that way, right?
Right.
Did they continue it where they stopped it, or did they start from another point?
They started from another point.
So what are they doing? They're making that funnel tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. It's kind of like the 2 railway lines that meet, and then they put the golden spike in. Because when you're down there, I mean, that section is only 150 miles wide. And that thing, now they're coming east to west to meet that stop where they stopped building it. Yeah, Lindsey Graham, that was a useful idiot. I mean, he who shall not be named.
Trump's not doing that with the border. Is that what you're saying? You're saying that Trump is doing that, right? That's what.
Well, yeah. I mean, after being out there, the things I heard.
That's even a weapon. The wall is all metal. Okay, it's an actual energy weapon. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, then a lot of people don't understand what's at the base of those big posts. On either end, and then every 6 feet. At the bottom of the fencing below the dirt line is actual radar that pings 200 meters deep constantly. So when somebody is digging a tunnel, they'll know exactly where to go, because they'll go, "Oh, it's right here, so let's go wait if they're seeing any buildings are here."
And he got defense funding for this because it's a weapon. The dude is absolutely on point, being able to do the things he does. Here's something else. This is something I was going to show you too. Look, check this out. This is what was just sent to me as well.
I read this yesterday. I don't know if this is a real story or not, because it's concerning the Space Force. And number one, there's no Space Force times yet. Every service has their own times. Okay. And that tells what they're doing and what they're not doing. But here's an interesting thing before you start this, because I wanted to bring this. I'm glad you brought this up. Okay. Yes. So if we know that the Dominion voting machines caused to do what they did because of, now follow me on this, on the Organic Act of 1871, that means that every state that joined the Union, they didn't join the restored republic. They joined the Organic They joined the Organic Act of 1871, United States of America Incorporated. And since since 3 of the 4 military branches were done in our revolutionary times, the Air Force wasn't done until 1947.
Right.
The Air Force effectively is not a branch of service according to the Constitution. Just like all of those states, Hawaii and every state that came after 1871 is not part of the Union. And this is something that if you read Anna Van Ritz, she in her latest readings was really talking about this, because this is a lot of snares. And when you look at the Air Force is now the Air Force and the Space Force are one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like the Navy and the Marine Corps are one and the same. The Marine Corps is a department of the United States Navy, whereas the Space Force is a department of the U.S. Air Force. But if you go back to the Organic Act of 1871, then the Space Force is its own entity and it has no allegiance to us. And this goes back to those the video game series UFO, where you had a multitask national force, international force that was a space force for the planet. You know, basically like the Interpol. And when you look at this story and you read this story and what this guy did, and I understand what website this came from, so there is credibility about this, but at the same point, it makes you go, You know, when you have a news story that makes you go, that sets off your spidey tense, your spidey tingling and all of that. But yeah, I mean, go talk about that story.
This just came in. PA County, Pennsylvania County judge says Republican ballots cannot be scanned. They can't get Republican ballots to scan, folks, for other elections because of what they did in 2020. It only takes Democratic votes. This is nuts.
Well, see, this is all part of that push for voter ID, because if we get voter ID, the Democrats will never get it. They'll never get into power, and they know it. That's why they cheated. That's why they use the dead, because they are a cult of death to, represent. Oh, it was like, what was that Chris Farley movie where he was, he and what's his name? They were
David Spader.
Yeah, David Spader. They were helping his father run for governor, right? And
brother, it was called Black Sheep.
Black Sheep, right? And in that, you hear they talk about the voter rolls and how many people were dead that voted. And you look at our election of 2020 and how many people in Arizona were dead that voted.
Oh my God.
But I want to get back to the story. So I just wanted to put some context about the Space Force and who they really are. I mean, basically, in my opinion, they're the Interpol of the space, and they're going to be the ones that will use the rods of God to destroy the 34 satanic buildings. And unfortunately, the White House just became one of them, as much of its promise as the history have put upon it. But the last, since the Bush era, it was a haven for evil. And it's got to be dealt with. And I know anybody, when we find out the truth and they're broadcasted to us, a lot of people be like, yeah, go ahead, burn that motherfucker down. I don't give a shit. Right?
Here, I'm going to put this link. We won't watch the whole thing or anything like that. I'll just put it in the chat. People can go check it out on their own on this. But
it's interesting that is it a hit piece on the Space Force?
It's a hit piece on everything, including Michigan. See, watch. This is pretty. See what it says here.
Space Force was relieved of his duties.
Yeah,
which is a nice way of saying that he got fired.
So it talks about the Space Force in the beginning. Now,
because he was drummed out. He was drummed out for his critical race theory on Marxism. Is what I was reading.
Yeah.
So, but isn't it funny that they went right to Whitmer?
Yeah. And then you just go, and then it'll go here. Where's it at? I just had it earlier. I'm sorry. It's going back to different people. Space Force. Where's it at? Hang on. I got to find it. Yeah. This is what he was talking about. Whoever. Darren Scott, U.S. Air Force. That's who was.
Yeah. Now see, he's not part of the Space Force. You see, because in the Space Force they have their own ranks, they have their own uniforms, and like a captain in the Space Force is not a captain in the Space Force. Okay, it's a commander. Just like in the Navy, it's a commander. They're captains. And then, you have the ranks above that. But that's what I said. I thought this was a hit piece because they say he's part of the U.S. Air Force that was on loan to the Space Force. But see, this is all about that. They're trying to knock the military for not having racial diversity. You know what I say to that as a son of a military, of a Filipino, a full-bred Filipino, enlisted man and an officer? I say poo-poo to that. Because here's my reason why. Because in the military, you do not salute the man, you salute the rank. And I have known a lot of field grade officers. Those are the guys with scrambled eggs on their hat. That's what it's called, scrambled eggs. When you see those guys, and those guys come out of Annapolis and they're, hi, I'm Buffy, and this is my wife Buffy, and I'm Biff, and that mentality, where they're better than you. And it's like my old man being a ground pounder who became an officer, that's known as a Mustang. And so a lot of the troops see that and they're like, well, shit, he went through the same shit I went through, so I'm going to be loyal to him. And then you have those officers that would look at my father and go, how do you have so much loyalty from your men? Well, could be because he used to be like them, and now he got promoted to the rank of an officer. Yeah, there's a lot of douchebags in the military.
Have you seen this? I'm gonna try to grab this video. This is something that just came in not too long ago. Have you seen this?
Hancock. This is Hancock, isn't it, from England?
I'm assuming this was on the platform. They were saying everybody spot the glitch. So I'm gonna play it and see what everybody's talking about here. Hang on.
Well, it's pointing to where the glitch is, so that's a good thing. You know where to look.
Some extra legs in that race, but the vaccine will still. We have a high degree of confidence that the vaccine will overcome. In Bolton.
Oh! Did you see that?
That was like that chick disappearing after she whipped behind that. Okay, so I can tell you right now, even though it's a secondary from me to you. Yeah. So you notice on his shoulders, there's a little blue haze. And if you follow,
is that the green screen? What's that?
Yeah, if you follow it and you go up his neck, you notice how that blue haze disappears, but how fine his hair isn't fine, because on a green screen, the fine hair is gone. It just clumps it as one because it's so focused on making sure all the edges. But yeah, he's standing in front of a green screen. But that glitch is hilarious out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. Boom.
But see, this is the AI breaking down because people are not giving it the power that it needs to stay in the power. It's just like Netanyahu. I mean, you and I talked about this, and I only found it out recently that Trump sold Israel bunker busters.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
When we look at the oil fields and know that underneath those oil fields was underground tunnels and cities, and those bunker busters, from my understanding, wiped out 65% of Hamas because they all ran to the shelters thinking, oh, we'll be safe. Well, they didn't understand that the Israelis had bunker busters that penetrated the soil and then found the bunker and went kaboom and blew everybody up underneath it. And so Hamas has been pleading with the Israelis to stop. And you had it earlier that the Israelis are going to start another night of continued bombing. So because look, Netanyahu is a Khazarian and he'll fire on his own people because he's a bloodthirsty leader of a death cult. And he doesn't give a shit if he kills his own people, kind of like Obama, and why Trump wants to go after Obama for the 90 people that he killed. And I got a feel for that Air Force pilot that did that, who realized holy shit, I just killed those Americans. I mean, can you imagine the mental anguish that he's going through? Even though he followed orders, he's still having to deal with, I just killed a bunch of Americans and their, and their families. So yeah, I feel for that kid. And here's another thing. Did you see that article that and Whiplash talked about this, that oil falls short, but in it there was another article that he posted where he said that the oil companies were specifically told not to drill for oil.
Yes,
and if you,
because of some type of it has to do with the Green Deal. It has to do with some type of yes. And I cannot remember it because there's so much information flying, but I know what you're talking about. They were told to stand down on the drilling because of something in regards to it had to do with the Green Deal of some sort.
Yeah, but it's all a ruse because it's all a ruse because we're getting ready to turn all of the 5G towers in America to 5G power and free Wi-Fi. That's why we're going down, is because when you look at the dominoes, and we talked about this last week, why did the government buy billions of IP addresses? And when you look at, and when you know that the new internet is 7,500 times faster than the current internet,
that's insane,
right? I mean, you're going to have to make your adjustments on your servers to meet with this new internet, right? And you think about just how small you are, and you're talking about Cisco and all of these giant servers and video games that have server farms.
Oh, question.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like the video game with that speed? People are going to be, sitting in their underwear playing for hours at a time on their couch.
Thanks for the visual.
I've been there. I mean, I've done that where you're just like, this is so cool. I'm just going to grind, and you don't, like the reason my son did computers is because of playing EverQuest. Or should I say EverCrack? It'd be like, I'd go to my son Blaze and I go, hey, I need you to sit in here. I am farming gold and silver right now because I'm trying to make something. So all I need you to do is say, go see that knot, go walk up to it and hit it with a hammer. And at the time he was 7 years old, basic for a 7-year-old,
Right.
So I would make dinner and we'd have dinner and he'd go, Dad, I made this much gold. And one day I said, okay, I'm going to make you an account. At 11 years old, Brad McQuaid, the leader of EverQuest, who happened to be my old neighbor, but he called me up and he goes, hey, can you and your son come down to San Diego? We want to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah. So come down, and he goes, we really want to talk to your son, but we have to have you here for a reason. They offered my son a beta testing job at 11 years old. And he was the team leader for the Bard class. So here is my little 11-year-old son going, I need my own computer, Dad. And so I built him the machine and got him all the video cards. And, he would get these letters from EverQuest to go, yeah, we have a testing on this date. Can you make it? Oh, you're in school. We got that. And then one day, this giant box appears on my doorstep from UPS. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And inside was a beta version of the PlayStation 3 with 100 video games because Variant got sold to Sony, and Sony kept him on as a beta tester.
Wow.
Because of his age and the way he wrote his reports. So that's how my son got into the computer game industry, was because I needed him to farm gold for me while I made dinner. But that's what I'm saying is that last night I watched The Expanse. Do you know the TV show The Expanse? It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime. Oh shit! I'm gonna lose my battery.
You're good. We're gonna have to probably wrap it up anyways. But
I wanted to tell you about this real quick. So in the TV show The Expanse, they have these crystalline phones, and what they do is like they have the phone and it has another screen that comes out, so it's out here. But what you can do like in Iron Man, they could put it down and they just do this motion, and here you have this 3-dimensional 3D screen in front of you, which you can watch you and I could be sitting across from each other with the screen and seeing both sides of it and seeing through it. But those are the phones that are part of the new internet. Like these things, I have an Android. You probably have an Android too, yes?
No, iPhone.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Oh, it's okay. It's
It's
all right.
Apple is, to me, is the most restrictive company on freedom of speech there is, even though their phones are super protective. I mean, like, if you know, you can break into this pretty easy because it's open source technology. Whereas, Apple uses I can never say that word, preparatory technology, which means you have to get a court order. Remember when the government had to get a court order to break into somebody's iPhone?
Oh yeah.
So that, you have the best of both worlds. But again, all of that's going to be a moot point when the new internet comes.
I think for everybody, I think we're all in the same boat, regardless if you're Android
and that's the reason why planes and trains and some automobiles are going to go down, because some automobiles rely on the internet to work. Oh, I don't know, like a Tesla or the i3 that I'm looking at by BMW, which are mainly driven by their Wi-Fi and their updates that they get. So you're going to see. I think that's part of the 3 days of darkness that we're going to experience is the changing of going from a 16 horsepower engine to a 351 Cleveland that's pumping out 434 brake horsepower, more power, baby. We're not going to be. I just got a new.
I'm getting all kinds of stuff on my phone right now. This is nuts. All kinds of stuff is poured in, folks.
Okay, I just got a new update. Okay. Our military intel contacts and things are moving behind the scenes to start Tier 4B this week. Disclosure of deep state crimes happening today, Tuesday, 18 May, and thousands more arrests happening total today globally to weaken the cabal before the shotgun start is initiated. NDAs are keeping CMKX and other T3 adjudicated settlements and PPP recipients quiet. More later. That just happened, 11:44. So I don't have to send that to you. But I will send it to you so you have it. But that just came about. But again, we were talking about deep state crimes. The first one is
they're posting everywhere. They're saying right now it's time for Trump and EBS, and they're getting it now. They're saying Whiplash just posted it. Somebody else has just posted it. It's like a flurry all over the internet right now. You're getting that update right now. My phone, everyone's asking me do I know about this? Do I know about this? And I'm sitting here trying to do a live and listen and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So,
well, that's the cool thing about the back and forth is that when you're talking, I can go through all the stuff that, because my
Telegram is going nuts right now. This is what's happening as we speak right now.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If you don't have signal, get signal as soon as possible, because
you get on our platform and we're hooked up with signal too. So we got the best of both worlds. We got it covered. Just come on over.
And that's what I'm saying is that you can see that this platform is well over the target now.
Yeah,
just like Parler was. And
man, I told everybody. I said and that's another thing too. They know your movement, folks. So be leery. Stay put. Try to get somewhere and stay put digitally. Okay, but it's going down. Yeah, he's already on the platform. Patty Cake. He's already on PatriotShoot.com. So he's already in there. They're asking, were you already on the platform? I said, yeah.
I am, but you and I need to talk offline because I still need to understand how to work it from my end,
Okay.
Not from their end. But that's kind of funny because, it's like I told you, the two whales that I know basically said, hey, I'm going to go sign my NDA now. I'll talk to you after you sign yours.
How does that make you feel? I got to ask you that from a personal standpoint. These people, they got an NDA, them personally, obviously. Okay. They're real. You've had lots of interaction.
Dude, why do you think I'm so chill right now? Because what I just read, knowing what I read, and I just talked to my buddy John yesterday, and he didn't go back to Afghanistan because he was supposed to. He was he's an air traffic controller in Kabul. But I told him, I said, dude, I got a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach that, we're pulling out of Afghanistan right now. And air traffic controllers are the last ones to go.
Right.
And I've been on many a video chat with him where I was literally watching the firefight between the base and the mountainside. And I was on when the whole wall in his room got blown out, and you know how gnarly my scar is. His goes from here down to his belly button because he took he took 2 pieces of shrapnel into his body, and yeah, so he didn't go back, and I'm really stoked about that. But like I said, when we look at all of this, I'm chill, just like Mark is, because I know
it's happening. It's just a matter of time. Well, I don't know what happened to Spectre, but okay. I guess he's chill. I'm cool with that. I hope you're chill. With that being said, guys, listen, we'll be back tonight, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, same bat time. Hopefully, same bat channel, if not anything else. So I don't know what happened there, but get ready, folks. Pay close attention to what we just talked about and what Spectre talked about. And hang on one second here. Hey, Spectre, I got you online.
Yeah, so I tried to tell you earlier. I said, "Oh, my battery's going." You go, "No, we're gonna have to go soon." Well, my battery decided that it was time for me to go, and I was just calling back to just thank everybody and thank you. And I'm gonna go inside and plug in and get my juice in my laptop. I just burned through 2 hours of battery.
You're good, brother. You do what you need to do. I'll call you here shortly.
Yeah, call me later.
Okay.
Or just send me a thing and we'll talk to StreamYard. But everybody have a great and blessed day, okay?
Thanks again. Appreciate you, Spectre. All right.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace. Well, there you go. Rocking and rolling, folks. So it's on tonight. Like I said, be there, be square. But more importantly, just flip and be there, because it's going to be the most badassery show you've ever seen in your freaking life. Welcome to Revolution. Starts at 7 p.m. tonight, Central. See you there. God bless the Republic of the United States of America, and God bless you, Patriots. Without you, there is no America.